All right. Everyone, I'd like to bring in your council member, Vanessa Gibson. And your mayor, Bill de Blasio. So before we begin, I'd like to invite up Amanda Durrell to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Amanda?
Good evening, everyone. And thank you. Please place your right hand on your left breast as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I will begin on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Amanda. I'd like to thank our host for this evening, the Bronx School for Law, Government and Justice, the principal, Johanny Hernandez. Thank you so much for hosting us this evening. Also like to thank our co-sponsors, Bronx Community Board 3, Bronx Community Board 4, Bronx Community Board 5, the African Advisory Council, Bronx Connect Release the Grip, the Mid-Bronx Senior Citizens Council, and the 161st Street Business Improvement District. Thank you so much for helping us with this evening's events. So I'd like to start off by inviting some of our special guests to bring greetings to the crowd. First up, your state senator, Jose Serrano.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, Mr. Mayor. Councilwoman, wasn't expecting to speak right away, but I'll try to get my brain moving here rather quickly.
You can do it. You can do it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It really is an honor. I have such a crazy district, as you know. I've been to the town halls in East Harlem and all the other places. But in this neighborhood, this is where I live, 2 blocks from here. This is such an incredibly growing community, very historic community, and the Bronx in general is home to some of the most amazing places anywhere, and it's grown a great deal. And so much credit goes to this administration and to this councilwoman especially, who is my friend and one of the hardest working elected officials you've ever met. Very pleased to be here with my son this evening, and I'm hoping that he will listen to a lot of the concerns that the community have. These forums, Mr. Mayor, are so important because they give community members the opportunity to talk about the things that are so critically important, and it's such a diverse array of issues. And having all of your commissioners and staff and members of the NYPD, it really does give people the opportunity to feel fully vested in their communities. And I would like to thank all of them, especially the NYPD, who do an amazing job in our community. Thank you for being here. And with that, I will turn it back because I know there's a lot of other speaking that needs to happen tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Senator Serrano. Now I'd like to invite up your Assembly Member, Latoya Joyner.
Thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. It's very nice to see everybody, and everybody came on time, right? So we know that this is a special day. I do want to thank the commissioners, the mayor, our councilwoman for being here. I know tonight is about everyone and allowing everybody's voice to be heard and about different issues. We want to thank the mayor for his commitment over the past 4 years, and we're looking forward to seeing what's going to happen within the next 4 years. We're happy with pre-K, reducing traffic fatalities, your commitment to housing. And, I learned from the best that when you see an elected official, you don't walk away without telling them your wish list. So before I sit down, because I know I only have 30 seconds, I did want to highlight at least 2 issues that are very important to my community specifically. I know that there's recent talks about different jail sightings and, Highbridge Community Center. We lost the only community center we had in Highbridge. So if we're having the conversation about one thing, we need to have the conversation about more resources as well within the community. And I'm just making a pitch that we do need a community center specifically in Highbridge. The second wish list that I have is basically, we know that you're very committed to renewal schools, but District 9 has the highest number of renewal schools, and our schools are the first one that are on the chopping block for closure. So I'm hoping within the next 4 years, we see a change in that and a real commitment to keeping renewal schools open. So that's my wish list, and I'll leave it up to everybody else to explain their wish list as well. So thank you for allowing me to join you this evening.
Thank you, Assemblymember Joyner. Now, your Assemblymember Michael Blake.
Wakanda forever. Let's just do that right there. Let's get that out there while we're here. Or Bronx, whatever you want to do. You see, Barbara, I see you right now. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Buenas noches, dame caballero. Mi nombre es Miguel Blake, asambleísta para la Recita 79. Oh, y'all got surprised when the Jamaican starts in Spanish right now. I see y'all right now. Come on now. How you think I grew up at Creston and Burnside if I didn't have some Spanish in me right now? Come on, let's be clear. First, we want to say thank you to the mayor and to our councilwoman, Vanessa Gibson. This is the second time that they have done this conversation. The last time, we were at Claremont. We were with Abraham Jones and the entire family, Barbara and Linda and everyone. So we're grateful. So let's put our hands together for them coming back again. Hey, come on, we can do better than that. We can do better than that. This shows you why we all have to be interconnected. The work that we've been doing over the last year, in large part, the priorities and what's happening here. We were able to continue My Brother's Keeper, which we're doing with the city around young men of color and the Young Men Initiative, because we can't continue to have our young men of color not have an opportunity. We've been helping our young sisters by making sure we got them connected to technology. We've been standing up with the NYPD and the officers, but importantly, we've been standing up for the people. We are here for you. And so when we talk about why we're here, Mr. Mayor, I'm sure this will come up throughout tonight, NYCHA. We have to be engaged in that conversation, in particular, what's going on with lead testing, and the conversations that are happening with that. I know many of our colleagues from Melrose Houses are here, and that's important to us. Of course, New Explorers, which Assemblymember Joyner has mentioned this is important to many of us. What are we doing as it relates to making sure we're not closing schools while then opening jails? And so when we have this conversation, but I want to give credit where credit's due. First to Vanessa, who has been consistent in this. We got to make sure we stand up for our sisters in leadership right now. What she's been doing first with public safety, but now all the questions around Capitol in New York City, we're going to go to Vanessa about right now. If you care about a building in New York City, go holler at Vanessa Gibson right now. And to the mayor, when it comes to UPK, when it comes to consistent with Young Men's Initiative, when it comes to being consistent and being engaged, we just appreciate you. When we talk about building a better Bronx, we're serious about that here in this district. So we're grateful for everybody. God bless you, and let's have a great town hall tonight.
Thank you, Assemblymember Blake. Now I'd like to bring you up your council member and tonight's moderator, Vanessa Gibson.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, family. I am so grateful that everyone came out tonight. You are the village that sustains this district. And so I want to thank you for your presence, your participation. I welcome you. I want to thank Bronx Laws of Government. Law, Government, and Justice has been an incredible institution here in the Bronx, in School District 9. So I want to thank Principal Johanny Hernandez, Kim Felder. I want to thank Amanda and everyone for what you do here at LGJ. And on a personal note, I have to begin by thanking many of you, because I suffered a loss in my family, my mother's sister, my beloved aunt, passed away, and many of you, including the mayor, reached out to express your condolences and your prayers of comfort for my family. And so I ask all of you to continue to pray for us, because it's not easy when you lose a loved one, and I'm a small family, and so I want to thank you all for your love and for your support from the bottom of my heart. It means so much. Tonight is about all of you. It's about this community. Under this administration, under our wonderful mayor, this is the 53rd town hall that Mayor de Blasio is holding in the city of New York. And as Assemblymember Blake has said, he came to us in 2016 at Claremont Neighborhood Center, the very first council district in the Bronx to host a town hall was us. And now that we've began a new year, 2018, guess what? The mayor is back again for the very first town hall in the Bronx, in our community. That's incredible. And that just demonstrates his commitment to the borough of the Bronx and certainly to Council District 16. And so once again, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all of my colleagues in government, all of the community leaders who are here, our agencies and commissioners and NYPD. Whether you have a title in front of your name or not, it is our responsibility to make sure that the future generation of young people have a better future than we did. So it is our fundamental responsibility to make sure that we are working together in the spirit of collaboration and partnership. I am so proud and honored every day to be your council member. I am fighting for you in the Bronx, at City Hall, wherever I go. I am one of the loud voices at City Hall. You know I'm loud when I need to be, because you deserve it. You deserve all the advocacy and all of the commitment and investment. Investment. What have we done since 2014, since we took office? Housing preservation, community boards 4 and 5, 5,500 units of housing preserved since 2014. Over the next 2 years, an additional 2,500 units of housing that we will preserve, meaning we will protect the rents, we will protect the affordability, and we'll invest in the building. New boilers, new furnaces, new apartments and upgrades, all the things that we know you need. We have invested in the Jerome Neighborhood Rezoning Plan, which was not popular, but over $189 million of investments, of capital, is going to come into this district. And you did that. You did that. A brand new elementary school in School District 9 for our babies, for our children. $60 million of park renovations, and that includes $25 million for Grant Park, $4.6 million for Corporal Fisher, $2.6 million for Bridge Playground, Aqueduct Walk, all of these parks that we know our children need. $50 million of funds for DOT, for streetscaping, for lighting along Jerome and all of the corridors that cross over. $700,000 for NYPD Argus cameras, because all of you talk to me about cameras, right? Cameras on our streets so our seniors and families feel safe as they travel. That's just a small amount. What we've also done, we're looking at a task force on public health to keep in line with Not 62, a task force on responsible contracting, a task force on Southwest housing to make sure that we're continuing on investments in housing. Last year, the New York City Council declared 2017 as the year of the senior, and we worked with the mayor and we invested $23 million in funds for senior services and programs and NORCs for all of you that go to senior centers. We've invested in the NYPD. We have the Neighborhood Coordination Officer Program in the 4-2, the 4-4, the 4-6, and PSA 7. And now the mayor has recently announced that we're also instituting the NCO program in transit. And so these are just more things that we're doing to invest in all of you. Cure Violence, and the New York City Crisis Management System. And shout out to all the organizations like Bronx Connect, like Save Our Streets, like Good Shepherds, that focus on young people so they don't get involved in the criminal justice system, giving them jobs and opportunities to be a success story and not a statistic. This is just some of the things we've done. Every day that we wake up, we have to wake up with a fundamental principle and a passion and a plan. And all of you know, God gives us purpose every single day. And so I am proud at the level of investments that we have made to improve the quality of life for families, for children, for seniors. Universal pre-K, 70,000 four-year-olds have access to high-quality universal pre-K. And thanks to our mayor, we have 3K for three-year-olds. And we're excited about that because early education is the foundation by which we train up our young peoples. The Bible says you have to be doers of the word. We have to be doers of the word. We have to recognize that if not us, who? If not now, when? We don't have time. Our children need it. And so you all can see I am passionate about this work because I live this every single day. But I am so proud because in the city council, we have been partners with our mayor. The mayor has worked with us hand in hand, and he's listened to us. He's come to the borough, and he's made sure that he doesn't just talk the talk, but he walks the walk. And he invests money where our commitment is. How we can continue to address income inequality and building real affordable housing for families and seniors and many families living in homeless shelters, victims of domestic violence, youth aging out of foster care, and God knows we need to continue to take care of our veterans. And so I am proud. When you look at all the things we've done since 2014, I am proud of this work. But are we done yet? No. Are we satisfied? No. We must continue to invest in public housing, in the housing authority, and our parks and open space and mass transit. And through tonight's town hall, I hope that you raise all of the issues that you care about. Because it's not just about me being your council member, but it's about you having direct access to the mayor and his administration. So I can be a loud voice, but I need you to help me be a louder voice in making sure that we get things done. And so it is my honor, it is my absolute privilege to introduce someone who needs very little introduction. He is a friend to District 16. He's a friend to the Bronx. He's often seen throwing up the X for BX. He throws up the X. See, there it is. He throws up the X because he recognizes that the Bronx has been shortchanged for very, very long. And now we need to change the conversation, change the dynamics, and change the environment by which we work. So community, family, please help me welcome our mayor of the city of New York, Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Vanessa Gibson's going to get a job after public service with professional wrestling. She's going to be announcing all the fights. I have a lot of things I want to say about your council member and her passion and her hard work. But before I get started, we have a very special guest that's joined us. Madam DA, would you like to say a few words? The District Attorney of the Bronx, Darcel Clark.
Good evening, family. How is everyone? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, thank you so much for what you do for the city of New York, but especially the Bronx, which is the part that I care about most.
I've noticed.
You've been a great partner to the District Attorney's Office, helping us with the funding that we need. Hopefully, with these budget negotiations, we'll get even better. But I thank you for all that you do. And thank you for doing this, because you know what? A lot of people probably thought, oh, he does these town halls because he was running. He's in already, term limited. You don't have to do these, but you continue to do it because you care about the people in the community. So thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you.
To my sister, Vanessa Gibson, my partner in this, you could tell we're in sync. We got the same colors on. Didn't call each other anything, but we are always like that. Thank you, Vanessa, for all you do for your council district. You know her. She believes in it. She works hard, and she does it day and night, and I'm happy to be a part of it with her. So thank you, Vanessa. And my other members in government, Assemblyman Blake, Assemblyman Joyner, Senator Serrano, District Leader Cynthia Cox, who you all know, of course. But thank you so much. But we're doing good in the DA's office. There's a lot of challenges, but you know what? With the help of the men and women from NYPD, and thank you for all that you all do, these are partners of mine as well, we're keeping the Bronx safe, and that's what's important. So you know I'm right across the street. The DA's office is always, always, always here for you. We're always thinking of public safety first. So, and that means our witnesses, our victims, we're making sure that your voices are heard each and every day. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we do it without violating the rights of the accused. So I'm balancing it each and every day. It's a challenge, but it's one that I welcome, and we're going to continue to do it. So I'm concentrating on public safety. I'm just going to say one thing. The office is sponsoring our second annual Bronx Child Safety Fair. Come out to St. Simeon Stock School on Saturday, April 21st from 11 to 3. Children 3 to 13 years. You can learn about all types of things: bike safety, safe touch, unsafe touch, internet safety, safe sleeping, bullying, all those types of things. So come out, it's free, it's a great day, and again, it's a concentration on public safety. Thank you so much, and Mr. Mayor, I give it back to you.
Thank you, my dear. All right, everybody, I want to start, I'm going to say what I feel about your council member, as I mentioned, and I want to thank the other electeds and say something about them, but I want to start at the beginning, because in a town hall meeting, the most important people are all of you, because you came out tonight. You cared about your community enough to come out tonight. I always like to take a moment to appreciate that fact, because it would be very easy in this day and age, where turning on the television and watching the news is not always a pleasant experience. It would be very easy to be discouraged. It would be very easy to tune out. But what I found, and I am honored to be doing my 53rd town hall meeting, and I'm going to be many more ahead, what I found is something very life-affirming when I'm in the neighborhoods of this city, because so many people care. And you all, everyone in this room has had a long day already. You would not be, you couldn't be accused of being a slacker if you stayed home after a long day. But look at hundreds of people who came out because they cared about their community. So please give your neighbor a round of applause. I want to thank the elected officials. We have been joined, I noticed, by Assemblymember Luis Sepulveda. Thank you for joining us. He is Assemblymember today. Next week he may have a new title. Just wanted to share that. That's right, you're going to applaud for that, yeah. To all of the elected officials who serve us in Albany, I just want to thank you on behalf of the city of New York. I have spent many a day talking with my colleagues who serve us in the legislature. Every time I talk about people who serve in Albany, I remind you, it's not an easy place to go to defend the interests of 8.6 million New Yorkers. I wish the conversation in Albany looked at New York City favorably, because there's 8.6 million of us, and we do a lot for the state of New York, this city. Unfortunately, these good people have to fight a lot of the time just for basic fairness for New York City. So Senator Serrano and Assemblymember Joyner and Assemblymember Blake and Assemblymember Sepulveda, I want to thank you for always fighting for New York City. Let's all thank them for what they do. Senator and I go way back. We were in the council together, and I really appreciate your partnership. Assemblymember Joyner, I was listening to your wish list, and I appreciate it, and look forward to following up with you on that. Assemblymember Blake, he has 2 jobs. He represents this neighborhood in the Bronx. He is also a delegate from Wakanda. Is that right? Be very nice to him because they don't play in Wakanda, okay? And of course, Assemblymember Sepulveda and I have worked very, very closely together for years. On just a quick comment that, because the renewal schools that I know are near and dear to your hearts. We have a new chancellor, as you know, Richard Carranza, who I hope everyone gets to meet. He is fantastic. We want to do better with the renewal school program. We believe that for 3 years we have truly focused and invested very bluntly in a way that we did not see in the past with the previous administration. We see schools that are going through challenges, and we know it's not necessarily fair that they were going through challenges. For many, many years, those schools were not invested in, they were not supported. We tried in a very focused way to do better. But I think we could do better still. We have to communicate a lot better with school communities and with all of you. I want to certainly acknowledge that. This next year is crucial because we have a set of schools we are investing in again for a 4th year, and we want to get a sustained outcome. We want that for as many schools as possible. For those that we look at and don't see that, we want to have a very upfront conversation with you about our concerns and where we're going. So I want to pledge to both of you that we will start that conversation a lot earlier, and it's something our new chancellor is also very, very committed to. And obviously, want to say on the question that Assemblymember Blake raised about the lead testing in NYCHA, absolutely crucial issue. There's been a lot of information and I would honestly say some misinformation out there on this topic. And I look forward to talking about it in more detail tonight. But I want everyone to hear from me directly. I feel strongly, my administration feels strongly, we want to protect children all over the city. This administration, if there's one thing we've been devoted to, is children. We want to protect children in NYCHA buildings. We don't want to see any child suffer. Every apartment that was identified as having an issue has been inspected not once but twice in the last 2 years. Remediation is happening at all those apartments, and it will happen year after year from this point on. It will happen every single year. So, incredibly important issue, but you have my commitment. It's one we will continue to invest in and focus on. I also want to say, you heard the mention that the council member made of the announcement we made just last week. We're very, very proud of it. And you know a lot about this topic from the 4 years you spent as chair of the Public Safety Committee in the City Council. You did an outstanding job. Let's give her a round of applause just for that one thing she did on top of everything else. But I want everyone to feel this point. The NCO program and the neighborhood policing strategy has been an extraordinary success. It is yielding incredible results, reducing crime, but also bringing police and community closer together. Now we're taking the idea to the subways. So much so that you are literally going to see posters in your subway station telling you who the officers are who are patrolling your subway line and how to reach them. So you're going to know them personally. You'll see them on the platform, you'll see them on the train, or if you see an issue and they're not around, you're going to be able to reach them personally and tell them about it and get them to help you. That's a whole nother kind of policing. And it's amazing that it's happening above ground. I think it's even more amazing it will be happening in the subways. Very personal, direct service and support for the strap hangers of this city. So we're really, really excited. That's a new thing we're going to say. Also want to note, reference made to something very near and dear to my heart, and I'll tell you, you know when something's near and dear to your heart that you don't just say nice things about it, but you put money into it. That is the Cure Violence movement. I want to thank everyone associated with the Cure Violence movement. This administration believes in putting money into that movement to support its good work, and we have seen incredible results. It's making a huge difference. One of the reasons also, on top of the amazing work of the NYPD, that we see crime going down yet again this year is because of the grassroots extraordinary efforts of the Cure Violence movement, keeping young people away from violence to begin with. So let's give them all a round of applause who are here tonight. Now, I'm going to do a couple of things up front. This meeting's going to go to about 9 o'clock. We have an opportunity, we want to get to as many people as possible. So I'm going to give you just a couple of quick more updates, and then we're going to go around and around. Vanessa's going to call on people. I want to just ask everyone, these are good ground rules. They've worked in the previous 52 town hall meetings. We want to get to as many people as possible. We ask you bring up one question or issue each so we can get to as many people as possible. Try and get to your question or concern as quickly as possible. I'll try and give you a quick answer, but I'll also turn to members of my administration if they have additional information that we need to add in. I want to also say, so you got here a lot of the heads of some of the most important agencies in the city government. These folks have a big impact on your life. A lot of the issues you're concerned about, they are the experts on. I want to tell you there's a bonus element to every town hall meeting. You got the main part of the meeting goes till about 9, but then these folks are here after. And if you want to come up and talk to any of them about the issues you're concerned about, you just walk up. You do not need an appointment. You do not need to go to Manhattan. You just walk up to them and talk to them, and they will be here. Now, every time I say that, there are people who look with concern because they think, well, wait a minute, 9 o'clock after a long day, is that fair to these hardworking people to keep them here? Well, I'm going to answer that question for you. They are so dedicated to their work. They love public service so much. They will stay here all night if you want them to. Are they smiling behind me? No? I think in their hearts, they're smiling. Okay, real quick, I want to give you some updates. Last year in New York City was the safest year in our history. And it's amazing what the community and the men and women of the NYPD achieved together. I'm pleased to tell you that we're now in the 4th month of 2018, and crime is down compared to this point in 2017. So we're setting a new record as we speak. An example, here in the 4-4 precinct, overall crime, major crimes down over 6% this year compared to last year. So thank you to all the men and women of the NYPD, all the leadership here, because they continue to do an amazing job. Now I want to say, I'm going to just rifle through a few quick issues here on education. Everyone knows my pride and joy is early childhood education, making sure our kids get off to a good start. By the way, I believe in equality. Let's face it, we had a society for many years that was basically about money, and historical realities determined whether a young person got the strong start they deserved or not. And we tolerate as a society the notion that some percentage of kids would get every opportunity to reach their full potential and millions and millions of other kids would be left behind. We don't do that anymore in New York City. In this city, we have a common standard. Every single child gets pre-K for free in this city. Everyone. So you might ask the question, well, what does it mean in Vanessa Gibson's district? I'm glad you asked. 4 years ago, there are only 400 full-day pre-K seats in this district. Today, there are 1,563 full-day pre-K seats in this district. Now, you heard mention of 3K. This is even more exciting, because if we can reach our young children even earlier, they will develop even faster, even better. Their minds are ready. We need to meet them and give them that opportunity. That's what 3K is going to do. It has begun in a few districts, including one here in the Bronx. I want to give you some good news that in September 2019, that is about 16 months from now, 3K for all for free. Full-day, high-quality, early childhood education for 3-year-olds will begin in District 9. So anyone who has a 3-year-old in your family who will be eligible for that year, you just saved a lot of money. Because the other great thing about pre-K and 3K is it's a burden that families used to have to try and scrape together resources for, and we all know in this city, A year of early child education, if you have to pay for it, is $10,000, $15,000 a year or more. So you can now start planning on it in District 9 that that's an expense you're not going to have. Congratulations. Now, another crucial piece of the equation is after school. Something we did was to expand after-school opportunities for middle school kids. Now, I want to take a test of this room. I'm going to survey the room. I want you to answer very candidly. Do you know? I'm going to first ask for those who say yes and those who say no. Do you know that after-school programs are available for free for all middle school kids in New York City? Raise your hand if you know that. Okay, good number of people. I guess I don't need to ask no because it's obvious now. Okay, good number of people, but a lot of people in this room didn't know that, so I'm going to ask you to help me. Every child in middle school, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, is guaranteed an after-school seat for free. That's how we've done it. Help, if you have middle school kids in your life or in your family or your friends, let them know that they can sign up for this next school year coming up and have that opportunity for kids to get all that enrichment, the tutoring, all the opportunity that comes with that extra time to learn in after school in a safe, positive environment. So we're very proud of that. And just so you know, in this district, hold on, Vanessa, I've got another number for you here. More goodies. Well, I thought I had it. I'll find it. I'll find it. Here we are. When we started, there were 420 after-school seats for middle school kids in your district. There are now 2,484. All right, now I want to switch very quickly. Affordable housing, arguably the number one issue in New York City. Certainly my colleague elected officials hear all about it all the time, as I do. One of the most important things we've done is we are now providing legal support to stop people from being illegally evicted from their apartment. And this council member has been one of the great leaders, one of the leaders in the effort to pass the right to counsel law. She has been a huge difference maker on this issue. All right, here we go. Since we have started providing free legal services, and we've only just begun, there's going to be a lot more available as we go along, but since we've begun, evictions are down 27% in New York City. Thousands of people are still in their apartment where they belong because they got the help they needed. And in this council district alone, free legal services have been given since we began to over 14,000 residents of your district. Councilmember mentioned the rezoning. I want to say again what it means. It means 1,150 new affordable apartments, and on top of that, 2,500 apartments will be preserved. I want to make sure everyone understands that word preserved the way we use it. It means the family in the apartment stays in the apartment, gets their rent subsidized decades into the future. It means a family can stay in that apartment for the long term and stay in the neighborhood they love. 2,500 apartments got preserved in that plan. Now, we talked about NYCHA before, and when you talk about affordable housing, NYCHA is one of the most important elements of affordable housing in this city. 400,000 people live in public housing. It is one of the reasons that everyday people can afford to stay in New York City. We've got to protect it. We've got to preserve it. We are investing in it, and I want to be very, very clear, we will not allow it to be privatized. It must remain public. And the investments are making a difference. And I want to give you one example, which is very powerful. We had some developments that had a lot of trouble when we first came in, particularly with safety. The Butler houses were an example. We invested $4 million in lights to light up the development, cameras, security systems for the doors. What has resulted from that investment is pretty striking. In the Butler houses, violent crime down 25% in the last 4 years. and all index crimes down 56% in the Butler houses. So these approaches work, and we're going to keep investing in them because we've proven they work. We also have a lot to do to fix the roofs in so many NYCHA buildings. We have a plan in place to fix almost 1,000 building roofs, and that includes $33 million to replace and repair the roofs at Sedgwick houses, Webster houses, and Forest houses. We all know we've got a lot to do to fix the heating systems. A lot of them are many, many decades old. And one of the examples I've heard a lot about is at Morris 1 and Morris 2, and we are investing $23 million to replace those boilers and replace those heating systems. Now, earlier in this week, I did a press conference and talked about an issue that is really a New York City issue. I wish it wasn't a New York City issue. We all wish it wasn't an issue, but the issue is rats. We don't like rats, do we? I've made very clear, the only rat I possibly admire is Pizza Rat, but, true New Yorker. But we announced a major new initiative to eradicate rats at 10 NYCHA developments that have had a particular challenge, and that includes, I'm going to describe what it means, but it's going to support the Webster houses, Butler houses, and Morris 1 and 2. This means full-time exterminators on premises. It means using dry ice to get those rats where they live, and they don't come back from the dry ice, I assure you. What was the thing they used to say in the ad? They check out, but they don't come back. What was it? They check in, but they don't check out. That's it. And this is crazy. This is something I learned only in the last year. It blew me away. There are a lot of NYCHA buildings that you go down in the basement, it is a dirt floor. These things have dirt floors. It's like the country here. They have not, that's part of why the rats got in, because they just come up through the dirt. Butler houses is one of them. We are going to replace them with a thing we call concrete, and the rats will not be able to get in to begin with. This was never done before. We're going to do it. Finally, we all know, two things. We all know that we need more transportation options in this city. This is not an easy place to get around. As you've noticed, it's very, very hard to build a new subway line, but something that we can do is select bus service, which has been a huge hit. It is helping people get around a lot quicker, a lot better. We launched the BX6 select bus service in September. It is already seeing a big increase in ridership, a decrease in travel time. So that's the kind of thing we support, and we're going to be doing more of those all over the city. And finally, I want to say, and last point on our parks, the council member talked to you about some of the major investments in parks, over $32 million in parks investments that were part of the rezoning. But I also want to note that we are investing almost $10 million to rebuild playgrounds in the broader community, including at Little Claremont Park, and that will be done in June. We're very happy about that. And finally, I have heard, my team has heard, that people want to see more lighting at Drew Park. So, we are announcing $350,000 to install more lighting at Drew Park right away. So with that, I just want to say thank you to everyone. I'm going to turn over to Vanessa. I look forward to your concerns and questions. Let's try and get to as many people as possible tonight. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. You see, he comes to our district with resources. Thank you. And you are always welcome back as long as you continue to bring more resources. Thank you so much. And once again, to all of my colleagues, I really appreciate the partnership to Bronx DA Darcel Clark, to Assemblymember Michael Blake, Assemblymember Latoya Joyner, District Leader Cynthia Cox, and State Senator Jose Serrano. Thank you so much. And I will begin with this section, and the mayor talked about housekeeping, so as best as we can, concise questions or comments so that we can get through as many comments this evening. So I'm going to start with this section. Anyone? You raised your hand first. Wow, okay, let's start with you. Thank you.
Everyone gets a microphone. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Valerie Reyes Jimenez. This question is for Mr. Mayor de Blasio. In our city, we have way too many overdose deaths, and we have more than 300 people die of overdose deaths in the Bronx every year. I'm personally affected by this because I'm tired of seeing my friends die of overdoses. Mayor de Blasio, supervised consumption spaces are an evidence-based model that has been around for 30 years and has reduced overdose deaths, improved health outcomes, and gotten more people into drug treatment in place in more than 65 cities across the world. And the mayor of San Francisco just endorsed piloting an approach, piloting the approach there. So Mayor de Blasio, the question is, will you commit to releasing the report on piloting supervised consumption spaces in New York City by next week?
Thank you very much for the question. Yes, we're going to announce by the end of this month. So what day is today? The 18th. So there's 12 days left in the month. So by the last day of this month at latest, there's going to be a report come out. But more importantly, we're going to talk about what the city thinks is the choices and decisions made as a result of that report. We're not just putting out a report and saying, let's think about it a while. We're going to put out a report and say how we feel we should move forward. You mentioned a very important thing. Look, the opioid crisis is profoundly troubling. We have to understand how bad it's gotten, largely because of fentanyl, which is this horrible drug that has become laced into heroin in so many cases and is killing so many people. This is a crisis that has gone far past homicide, far past traffic deaths. The opioid crisis has hit the Bronx very, very hard. We need to take a whole host of actions. We are spreading the reversal drug, naloxone, widely all over the city. NYPD, FDNY, EMS all have it now. Pharmacies all over the city have naloxone. If anyone in your life needs it, it's available. And one other very important thing I want to say to everyone, if anybody in your life is addicted, tragically, to opioids, there's a single place they can call, or you can call on their behalf to get them into treatment, or to get naloxone, or to get any other form of help. It's the line that's part of my wife's Thrive initiative. It's 888-NYC-WELL. Want you all please to repeat it so it goes into your brain. 1-888-NYC-WELL. Come on, people, we can do better than that. 1-888-NYC-WELL. Thank you. Please spread that around. So the answer to your question is, by the last day of this month at latest, and you mentioned the other cities. I have spoken to the mayor of Philadelphia, which is one of the places that's now talking about, but more importantly, I'm going to be speaking to some of the mayors of the Canadian cities that have this, because when I explain to the people in New York City my view, I want to base it on what other cities have experienced and have those facts at my command. So that's what I'm doing in these next few days, looking forward to the announcement at the end of the month. Thank you. No, we're not doing follow-ups. Oh, you want to do a handshake? Handshakes we do. Handshakes we do. A pleasure. Follow-ups we don't do because we want to get to as many people as possible.
Yes. Okay, next section. The gentleman in the back, you just stood up with your hat. First hand raised. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor. My name is James Williams. The question I'm going to ask, I've faced it plenty of times. How does the working man fit into the affordable housing plan? Now, I've applied for a lot of apartments, whether I say between 2010 to now. It seems like the working man there's not a category that he fits in, where he fits into the affordable housing. I mean, I'd like to, because really right now, I really would like, I'm looking for a place tonight now. But I mean, what category? Sometimes I'm either too under the other group or even over.
Thank you. I hear this concern all the time. I'm going to say something very quick, and then our Housing Commissioner, Maria Torres Springer, is going to tell everyone here how to go about applying so everyone hears it in common. But I want to affirm to you, this affordable housing plan very much focuses on everyday New Yorkers, people who work in public service, a great example. We have an affordable housing plan that if you're a bus driver or if you're a custodian or if you're a police officer, you should be able to live in this city through these apartments. We also have a lot of apartments for folks who happen to have lower incomes. But we believe fundamentally, this is not just a plan for folks who have middle income. It's not just a plan for people who have lower incomes. We cover the whole spectrum. So you should not have a situation where people say to you, your income is too high. There should be plenty of examples of affordable housing that fit you, and we're happy to have you talk to people individually after. But I want everyone to hear how you apply because we've made it a lot easier.
So in order to apply for affordable housing, and as the mayor said, there are units available for a range of incomes, you must first register with housingconnect.org. And housingconnect.org, you register, you answer questions about yourself, you see the units that are available, and you start the application process. But some of the new things that we've done to make it easier to navigate that process, we work with a lot of community-based organizations, we call them housing ambassadors, so that the step-by-step process in different languages is made available to applicants. And so I will, of course, stay behind later. If there are individuals here who have specific questions or who have had experiences with applying for affordable housing for which you'd like to provide some input,
Right.
I would love to take it, because we always have to improve that process.
Let me add, I want to thank the commissioner. I want to add, really important, we've had at almost every town hall meeting, people have talked about they applied and they thought they were going to get it and then suddenly they didn't get it. Anyone who ever got an acceptance and then something didn't work out can appeal and get themselves right back in line. That's the kind of thing you should talk to the commissioner team about. But the other thing she said, this ambassador point, is really important. It's not like you apply and there's no one to talk to. A lot of people, most of us, when we're trying to navigate forms and bureaucracy, it would be really nice to have a human being to talk to. Now we have community-based organizations who the city funds to actually be available, so you can walk in, talk to them, get on the phone, talk to them, someone in your community to help you navigate the process. And that, Commissioner, I believe if you go online and apply, it's visible how to connect with those local
That's
organizations.
correct. The list of housing ambassadors is on that same website.
Thank you.
All right, great, thank you. So good evening to all of our agencies, and now I'm going to go to this section here, and I'm going to start with young lady with the U.S. Army hat. Thank you so much.
Good evening. Oh, okay. Good evening. My name is Dee Ezel, and yes, I'm a veteran of the United States Army.
Thank you for your service. All right.
Welcome to the Capital District of the Bronx.
All right. I like that.
This is also the home of Police Commissioner James O'Neill.
Yes, he's very proud of that.
My question is, my fellow veterans are having difficulties with their SEPS vouchers. Landlords are not accepting them. What say you?
Thank you. So it is, I don't know, we have someone here from Veteran Affairs, come on over, but I'm also quite certain, Steve, you don't even have to get up on this one. That's income discrimination, am I right? I am right, okay. That's not legal. By the way, first of all, not only thank you for all you have done, but just think about this for a moment. I'm going to be a little cold here. What kind of landlord turns away a veteran? I mean, think about it for a moment. If we give a veteran a housing voucher, I'd like to meet the landlord that looks the veteran in the eye and says, even though you served your country, I'm not going to give you an apartment, even though it's paid for with a housing voucher. So, first of all, we all need to give them a little moral condemnation and correction. But second, it's illegal to turn anyone away in New York City if they have a voucher. Whether Section 8 voucher, veteran voucher, it's illegal. And by the way, what does it mean? It means if the landlord is found guilty, not only will they have to pay financial penalties, but they have to award the apartment often to the person they discriminated against. A Human Rights Commission handles that, but also our Veterans Affairs Office. Is anyone here from Veterans Affairs? Okay, we will have others follow up, but from CAU you'll follow up. But anybody who's here tonight, if you know of a situation like that, we need those landlords or realtors reported, because we can get real results from that. Okay, please, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this section, Okay, I'm going to start with you in the purple. Thank you.
Sorry. My name is Barbara Holmes. I'm the president of Morris Houses, a tenant association, and I'm also the president of Police Council PSA 7.
You keep busy.
Yeah. My question, my question is about the scaffolding and that's in the public housing. Now, they put this scaffolding in my development in 2016 for bricks. I haven't seen a brick fall yet, but this is what they said.
Morris 1, you said? I'm sorry?
Morris 1 and 2.
And 2, okay.
More in Morris 1.
Okay.
So the work hasn't been done, and the scaffoldings are still there. The cost of them being there is enormous, and that money could be used for something else.
Yes.
We could hire more caretakers that we need. We could cover the ground with grass. We could do many other things. The sidewalk, the walkways are cracked. We could use that money for that.
Yeah, first of all, I want to agree with you on the frustration, because I certainly have felt it too. I'm going to turn to Dave in a moment. You may know about the specifics, but let me just make sure everyone understands this broad point about the scaffolding. So, before we got here, what we found was there was a whole lot of scaffolding in NYCHA developments that was up for no apparent reason. And that created not only a bad look, but it was a safety problem. And PD was very clear that NYPD does not like scaffolding obstructing the views of the officers and giving places for some folks with the wrong intentions to hide. So we have a certain number of miles of scaffolding that we have now taken down across the city, miles worth, because we found so much that did not need to be there anyway, and it's ridiculous that, the work was done and the scaffolding stayed. But I also want to be honest, we found a new problem at the same time, which is that point about the bricks potentially coming down. So when you have the facade of a building and an engineer or an expert looks at it and says there's a chance bricks might fall off, we obviously have to protect people. And the scaffolding is a defensive measure, literally just to keep people isolated from anything falling on them. Your question is 100% right. How can we most quickly do the work and then get the scaffolding out? So I want to affirm that I believe more and more the scaffolding is actually there for a reason. That's the good news. But we have to speed up the process. Got to figure out a way to speed up that process. But do you know in this case anything about the timeline, Dave?
So, yes.
Process of finishing the work and getting the scaffolding down. We are very dependent on outside contractors.
Morris is supposed to have the facade work done for Local Law 11 done by the end of this year. So the facade will be removed for that work. Now, however, bad news and good news, we also are planning on doing roof work because we also know that there's roof issues there. So, the issue is whenever we have more work that's going to be done on the exterior of the building, we have to put it back up. But
well, okay, so then this is why we do town hall meetings. This is very helpful. So now what I'd like us to figure out how to do, and if you'll please follow up on this and share it with our new general manager for NYCHA, Vito Mastachulo, we need to coordinate all that work to try and have the one scaffolding serve more than one purpose. So if there's roofs in that development we have to do anyway, and we're trying to do the facade work, let's see if we can double that up some to get that scaffolding down once and for all. I don't want to take it down and put it back up. I'd like to see if we could do it all at the same time. So will you follow up on that and let me know the outcome?
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now I go to this section. Hands. Oh my God, so many hands. I'm going to go to you, ma'am, right here with the green shirt. Yes. Thank you so much.
My question to you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Maria Budram, and I live in the Bronx, corner of Grand Concourse and 161st. Ms. Gibson, thank you very much for your job in that area. My question is about homeless. I know it's a thing you've been working with, but I've seen over the past year and a half, more homeless is on the street in my neighborhood. And not only seniors, children and women. What are you going to do about these people?
Where do you have a particular location or several locations that you see
It's
that particular
several
challenge?
locations. Sometimes you see them on the steps of the courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you see them round by the theater in the plaza,
Which theater, I'm sorry?
Grand Concourse Plaza.
Okay.
Sometimes you see them down by Yankee Stadium area on the street there.
Uh-huh.
And in the winter past, I've seen so many of them turn out of the train station. They're by the McDonald's there, wet, shivering.
Yeah.
You know, and nowhere to go.
Okay, let me speak to this, and then what I'd like to do is, Jocelyn's going to speak, and whoever from the precincts wants to speak to it as well. So, this, look, we have a painful problem with homelessness. It's two problems, really, the more and more we're experiencing it. The one is a very economic reality, how much it costs to live in the city. Families that fall off the edge economically end up in shelter. But these are very much more nowadays families who are together, are working, but just can't afford housing. Those folks, we've had a lot of success getting back out of shelter and to affordable housing. We've had a lot of success helping people, if they were on the way to shelter, finding a better option to keep them out of shelter, or because of Vanessa's good work, stopping people from being evicted so they never end up in shelter. Those economic problems, we've actually found a lot of tools to address. But the other piece of it is the street homelessness problem, some of what I think you're seeing, which still was historically and still is. A lot of people have mental health challenges, a lot of people who have substance abuse challenges. Not all of them, but it's a lot of the people. The one thing we're seeing now is that we have finally found a way to succeed at getting people off the streets, but it takes a lot of time. That's the honest truth. It's a thing called Homestat. It's a very intensive effort. It means outreach workers go and engage homeless people on the street. It could be dozens of times. It might even be hundreds of times to win their trust, figure out what will get them to decide to come in, and then get them off the street and keep them off the street. We've done that now with about 1,500 people. In the last year, almost 2 years, 1,500 people come off the street and stayed off the street. So we think we have something very powerful here that's going to reach more and more people. But we need everyone's help knowing where people are. We need you to call 311 when you see someone in need. And now I want Jocelyn and folks from PD to talk about any of these specific locations or any other ways that we're addressing the issue.
So for specific locations, I'm going to have my staff come to you to find out exactly where these places are, because we do have street outreach teams that are out. So if people call 311, we'll come out and talk to those people. But we also, over the last year, announced a plan where we're making strides around getting people in off the streets, as well as improving our shelter system. So we have the ability to bring people off, but remember, it takes several months of several contacts to get people off. But we want to hear from you directly, and we'll get that information so we know where to go to.
And as we turn to the precinct, I want to emphasize, if you see someone homeless in need, we want that call right away.
We want that call right away.
We want to send someone out right away. Go ahead.
Yes, Martine Matarazzo, the CEO of the 4-4 precinct. So just to touch on that, we definitely want that information right away. I'm going to have my staff also and myself speak with you to put you in touch with our NCOs that cover that area so we can engage the people that need the services and move forward together. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Now I'm going to go to this section. My goodness. Okay, I'm going to, my goodness. You, ma'am, right here with the black. No, with the black. Yes. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Shantae Williams-Dean. I am actually here for a couple of reasons, but the main thing is about school closures. One of my questions is, why are so many schools being closed, specifically those schools that are filled with majority black and brown students in some of the poorest congressional neighborhoods in the Bronx? My daughter's school has been proposed for closure, and this is a school, it's a transfer high school, Crotona Academy. It's being closed under impact statement with outdated information. All of the information on this impact statement is from years ago when our numbers were lower. Today, this is a transfer school that houses majority of the children who go to school there are either have IEPs or some kind of mental disability or suffering some kind of economic hardship. But this school works, the program works, And all of the numbers have increased, the attendance have increased, the region scores have, everything has increased, but the impact statement that this school is being proposed for closure has outdated numbers, and this is unfair.
Thank you for the concern. So I want to describe the approach we took. The Deputy Chancellor can speak to any specifics now, and she'll also follow up with you after. But look, I want to be very clear. So the strategy in the past, which I fundamentally disagreed with, was that the DOE, this is going back now 5 years and more, the DOE had a strategy that very much focused on closing schools. And I found that the way it was being applied was counterproductive. Schools were closed without a serious effort to provide them support and engage the school community. And a lot of times, a lot of kids were left in the lurch. We said we would change that fundamentally by doing a 3-year program, but I want to be very communicative with you. We said 3 years because we thought that was a fair amount of time based on talking to educators like the Deputy Chancellor, people who spent a lifetime teaching. 3 years of consistent investment will tell you what a school's potential is. So we started with almost 100 schools in the renewal school program. About a quarter of those schools have succeeded in leaving the program, graduating, if you will. They are now no longer considered renewal schools. They've made a lot of progress. We expect continued progress. About 50% of those schools are being given an additional year because they made progress, and we believe that more investment would help them to graduate. But there's about a quarter of those schools that after 3 years of consistent investment, we did not see progress. This is all over the city. This has been a pattern that's citywide. And I think if a school is not progressing sufficiently after 3 years of consistent investment, then it's our job to come up with a better solution for those kids. So I hear you loud and clear if you believe the numbers were not consistently looked at, and again, the Deputy Chancellor will follow up with you on that. If there's something we missed, I want to know about it. But I want you and everyone to understand this was the polar opposite of the past because we tried a heavy investment model, and in fact what we found is about 3/4 of the schools either succeeded or merited more investment. So the model worked in the vast majority of cases, but in some cases we felt after a lot of work we just didn't see enough progress, and we did not want kids to suffer if a school was not moving forward enough. Do you want to say anything else about this?
I think you said everything, Mr. Mayor, but I just wanted to add that so that you understand that we value our transfer schools because our most vulnerable students go there, and we want to make sure that they're doing the right thing for our students. I will come after and I'll look at the data that you're speaking about. We think very hard before we make a decision about closing a transfer school. And this was happening. We did look at the data. We do want to give students a better option, but I'll talk to you afterwards and I'll look at your impact statements. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now I'm going back to this section. Ma'am in the back with the turquoise blue, in the back with the glasses. Yes, thank you. The microphone's coming.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. My name is Beverly Smith. I'm a community leader, and I am also president of Popham Gardens Homeowners Association. The problem that I'm having is when you call 311, which was a very good service put into place for non-emergencies. However, when you call with a non-emergency, case in point, I've called them with an emergency of illegal construction going on at night. My response back was they will get back to you within 30 days, and they send somebody during the day. Now, how is that going to solve the problem?
Now, we agreed that does not make sense. Thank you for that point. Now, I don't know who is here from buildings. Okay, Deputy Commissioner's here. Look, let me say up front, those are not acceptable answers. We have added, I want to thank the City Council, we have literally added hundreds more building inspectors, because one of the problems, to be fair to the Buildings Department, was they were being asked to cover the whole city without enough inspectors. So we've added a lot more resources so they can have more inspectors. But if you've got a nighttime problem, they have to see it at night. That's a given. And I don't want anyone waiting 30 days, especially as anything might involve safety. So I know that the Buildings Department has been working to improve those kind of responses. Deputy Commissioner, what can you tell us?
Yes, the new staff that the mayor mentioned, so we have a team that does these after-hour variances and the illegal work that's happening after the permit hours, and so we can go out there in real time and be there when they're actually doing the work. So if you can give me those addresses, I can certainly make sure that we have somebody go out there at night, and in the future, when you call 311, we're going to be out there at night on a normal basis.
And Deputy Commissioner, help me out. From the time people call with a nighttime problem to the time they can expect an inspection at night, what would you say that time frame is now?
Yeah, it's going to be 2 to 4 hours that we're going to be there, so we're going to catch them doing that work.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you very much. That's a new buildings department. Good job.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go to you with the glasses on your head and the denim shirt. Thank you. The microphone. Thank you.
My name is Christine.
One sec, just want to ask everyone, when you get called on, a microphone will come to you. So just everyone look around you because one of the team members is going to bring you a microphone. Go ahead.
I live on Sherman Avenue, and apparently we have a retaining wall between 1160 Sherman and 1188. Apparently the retaining wall is falling down. They told us it's very dangerous. We went, we got something from the inspector, and they gave us both 3 violations. Apparently when these walls was built, I think it was about how many? About 27 years ago. What they did, 3/4 of the wall had fallen down. So what they did, they fixed 3/4 and the other quarter, and the way they fixed it, all they put was bricks and a net. And when they did it, it was like, I think, a tree. So now the tree is pushing the wall out. And
okay. So we got the concept, and this is going to take some personal follow-up, but what else, you could tell us anything else about how you guys can handle this?
Yeah, so this is a common problem in the Bronx, mainly because of the terrain that we have. So we have these retaining walls that are in the backyards between properties, and one of the hardest things we have is who actually owns the wall itself. And so we are, on Sherman Avenue, we're trying to get a meeting with all the property owners to see and spell out all the options we can to get that wall fixed. Because right now we have a vacate order on the backyards, and it's not bad having a vacate order when it's bad weather, but as soon as the good weather starts to come, everyone wants them to be in the backyard, but we also want them safe.
How soon can we do that meeting?
Yeah, we're trying to schedule that for this week or next week.
Okay, so please follow up with the Deputy Commissioner directly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So now I'm going to this section, gentleman right here, Tenants United hat. Thank you.
Oh, hi, my name is Raymond Brunson. I'm the TA president of 1020 College Avenue. Somehow, there's a lot of noise is being made, and when I complain, lately the police been acting okay. Before I called the police and she said, it's legal to make noise. Is that the law?
That's a good question.
Right?
Thank you. No, there's more to it than that. Yeah. I want to say to the leadership of the different precincts, these are great leaders. Sometimes there are individual officers who we got to help to give a little bit better answer and clear answer. Chief, I'll turn to you since you're the leader. What can we say, or Captain, is it? Inspector?
Inspector, yes.
Inspector, what can we say? Because clearly there is some noise that the NYPD can act on. Go ahead.
Correct. So, sir, I apologize for that response that you received. Obviously, if there's a noise complaint that we can correct and address for you, we will do it without a problem. Have you met your NCO officers?
Yes.
Pena and Pichardo?
The community that I have now is okay, but before that, I had this lady, she said,
Okay. But let's be clear, this is the voice of authority here. It's not legal under certain circumstances NYPD can enforce. So why don't you describe
noise in terms of like a radio or?
Okay, wait, we don't want to go back and forth, we got to keep things moving. Just describe for everyone the kinds of things that NYPD would intervene on.
Correct. So if there is a noise complaint, there's loud music, if they're running up and down the hallway, something to that effect, we could come there and we could mediate. If it's a tenant that's above you, we could have the NCOs refer you to mediation court, which we've done in the past and has been very successful with. So those are the types of things that the NCOs will definitely be more than happy and willing to work with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next section. I'm going to go to gentleman right here. Yes, with a black coat.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for having this meeting. I was born and raised in this city. I'm 67 years old. I went to school right across the street. Went to Taft High School. My father didn't even have 25 cents to give me to have lunch. But I said it to say I brought myself up, and I got a house, 4-family house, 3 blocks from here. And I just found out that I'm paying $7,000 more in taxes than my neighbor across the street. He has a 3-family home, I has a 4-family. But I have my mother in there, she just passed away. My sister, my other sister.
They have a 3-family?
Well, I have a 4-family.
You have a 4-family and you're paying
right across the
$7,000 more?
street, yeah, I'm paying 97.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Is anyone here from finance? Okay, so let's get some personal
But I have
service for
another
you.
question too.
Well, no, hold on, we got everyone do it one at a time because we got to kind of keep to the rule. Let's have finance follow up with you directly and see if they can help you with this problem.
Okay, and the most important thing is, I walk, I drive, and I thought that you was gonna come in and kind of do some of the things that Bloomberg did, but every time I get in my car, I am aggravated.
Okay.
Because everything congested all over the place.
I really want to keep people to one topic each, so I'm going to just be a referee to say, let's work on the first one. So I just want to remind everybody, whatever you first raise, that's your one topic, just for fairness to everyone. But thank you. So you'll follow up directly.
Follow up directly.
There's your man right after the meeting.
Thank you. Okay, going back to this section. Yes, sir, right here.
Thank you. I had to really wave to give it. Thank you, Councilwoman, for putting this together.
Get closer.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Councilwoman, for putting this together. Thank you, Mayor de Blasio, for being here. The Housing Preservation Development Agency has an amazing Home First Down Payment Assistance Grant. It's helped hundreds, if not thousands, of New Yorkers become homeowners. And the Bronx has now seen a real spike in home pricing. The area medium income doesn't allow for most low to moderate income families to be able to qualify to buy a home. A family of 3 making $68,000. Are we still going to stay at 80% area medium income, or are we going to go back to 100 where we once was last year, if I'm not mistaken?
Okay, Mr. Expert, you've got me beat. I don't know the answer to that, but maybe the Housing Commissioner does.
So first, I'd like to say that home ownership and home ownership opportunities, whether it's down payment assistance that you just mentioned, which is a program of ours, we do around 200 of them a year, or new programs to build new home ownership opportunities. There's actually a new one that the mayor announced last year called Open Door, because we want to make sure that for low and moderate income New Yorkers, there are more opportunities for home ownership. And those units are about 80 to 130% of area median income. As it relates to some of the other programs, there's something more specific, but we've tailored our home ownership opportunities to be available to a pretty wide range of New Yorkers.
And you can follow up after. Thank you.
Thank you. This section. Yes, man with the glasses, with the blue shirt. Thank you.
Hello, I have been a resident in 1655 Undercliff for about 20 years. I've actually been tweeting with you, Ms. Gibson, and as well as 311. I can choose one topic, so my biggest gripe right now is that our cross light at Sedgwick Avenue and Cedar Avenue is completely ripped out. And I made
You mean the traffic light?
what tells you to walk?
Okay,
There's a
that
school
thing,
right across.
yes, crosswalk, yes.
Ripped out. Shame on me because I actually noticed it about 2 weeks ago, but last week when my daughter went back to school from spring break and I had to actually walk with her and everything is when I was like, I can't believe this is still out.
Say exactly one more time where it is.
Sedgwick Avenue, Harlem River Bridge, so it's Sedgwick Avenue, Cedar, it's on the way.
Hold on one moment.
Okay.
Commissioner, I'd like to report a crosswalk thing that's been ripped out. What do you call that thing? Now, what do you call it?
The walk signal.
My
what?
issue
A walk signal.
is I've now
Walk
made
signal.
everyone aware of this for a week.
Right.
And just today, the Department of Transportation said, we'll go out there and look at it today. I
No,
can't
well-
help but think if I lived in
Right, right.
104
Now, if
Sixth
something
Street
was
or
there-
oh
Yeah, I've got my
104,
Bronx
then that would have
Commission.
moved a little faster.
Okay, we
But the-
just got the complaint today, so we will get on
So
it.
can I just, hold on, for everyone's benefit. If a crosswalk signal is knocked out, it's a given that you want to replace that as quickly as
Very
possible. So
quickly.
what is your typical timeline? Once you get the report, how long does it take you to fix one of those?
Usually. Yeah, I mean, usually that's when we try and do in a few
But
hours.
like, what's immediately mean? Like, how, I don't know how much
Like-
it takes usually.
We'll send someone out the same day.
Yeah, same day.
Whenever a traffic light or a walk signal is out, we will send someone out the same day, and depending on the nature of the work, we should get it up and running either that same day or a few days later.
But I think we only got a
We're
complaint
going
on
to
it
time it
today.
from this minute. Hold on. We're not doing back and forth respectfully. I said that. You raised a concern. It's a very valid concern. If it went into 311 and nothing happened, you guys need to go check with 311 what
Definitely.
that's about. But now we're going to start the timer right now. It is Wednesday night, right? So we want to see this fixed tomorrow or Friday. Go get them.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, anyone in this section? Gentleman right here. Yes, you. Thank you.
How are you? My name is Anthony Nasarino. I'm a proud English teacher in this school. And thank you.
All right.
I'm also the former committee chair of Cultural Affairs in Bronx Community Board 5. I don't know if you remember me, but I remember you. My name is Anthony Nasarino. While I was on Bronx Community Board 5, I brought up that saving 1800 and 1808 Grand Concourse was one of my biggest missions. The building is on about 176th Street in Grand Concourse, and the architects of that building built the former New York City Police Headquarters downtown, which is landmarked. They won a contest for the Albany Courthouse, which was built in 1914, which is still standing in our state's capital, and we have a piece of their legacy on the Grand Concourse, and it's just sitting there rotting. I proposed it to become a cultural center, maybe a hip-hop museum.
Okay, say the address one more time.
It's 1800 and 1808 Grand Concourse. The building is gorgeous.
Hold on.
It's one of the
This
first
is your
buildings.
district? No, okay.
Yeah, it's the next
It's a
one up.
very, very valid question, but not her district. Okay, and I don't know if landmarks preservation is here. Okay, let's have CAU follow up, please. You got it? Okay. I don't know anything about the specific site. Let's follow up. Let's get landmarks preservation to examine it and see what we think of it. Okay, we got it.
Great, thank you. Gentleman right here. Yes, with the blue jacket. I think it's black.
That's
I'm
not
sorry.
blue.
The light is in my eye.
Sir, is your jacket blue? I don't believe it's blue.
Whatever the case.
More of a gray. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Bakari Kamara. I'm a realtor. I'm also a community organizer. My question today will go to the Public Service, Sanitation, and Building Department. As a realtor, I work with investors who come to the Bronx and buy abandoned buildings and rehab them. The rule is if a property is vacant for a while, what they do, Sanitation goes and dig up the ground and cut the gas off.
Okay, what's your concern?
My concern is this. When you renovate the property and you want the gas to be turned on, it takes you almost 6 months to get it done. And the Sanitation Building Department, whatever the issue is, it takes so long. The same thing happening in Queens or Brooklyn.
I got it.
It happens like right away.
Yeah, that's I've heard this problem and it drives me crazy. So I just want to immediately agree with you that that's an unacceptable situation. The utilities are a strange reality because they're not part of government, but the role they play is, quasi-governmental, and that's a bad reality because they're not held accountable the same way government agencies are. But in terms of buildings department, if someone calls in and says, I've been waiting a long time to get my gas turned on, can we specifically intervene in any way?
Yeah, we can absolutely intervene and be out there. And if you give me the address, we'll have somebody out there. But
Thank you.
Our normal turnaround is 2 to 3 days to do this inspection.
But if the problem is the utility not responding, do we have the ability to reach them and push them to do it?
Yeah, and when we go out there and we pass the inspection, passes the gas test, we then go into our system that the utilities also have, which is a shared system where we authorize the gas to go on.
Okay.
And then it's on them to go turn it on.
Oh,
And-
okay.
And they want to turn it on because they want to start making money.
They
so.
should. Sometimes I'm amazed at what they don't do. Okay, you'll follow up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, there are a lot of students here. Young people, where are you? Okay, yes, I see some young people, but you're all wearing blue. So I'm going to call on the first young lady with the blue shirt on. Yes, you're all wearing the same shirt. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Demadali Alvarado. I'm the president of Youth Council at Renaissance Youth Center. And we support. Okay, I'm a little nervous.
You're doing good.
So-
You're doing fine.
So we represent every precinct in the borough of the Bronx. And we basically work on speaking on behalf of the youth from the ages of 13 to 24. And my friend Beatrice wants to talk about something concerning you.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Beatrice Cardona. I am the Vice President of Youth Council, and I want to speak about something called One New York for Peace, which is something that the Youth Council is working on that we would love you to come and be a part of, because it's important for youth to see there's a collaboration between the mayor and the youth, because that is important, and we feel as though people don't love each other anymore, and we are just holding these series of events all over the 5 boroughs, just spreading the love and showing each other that we can be here for each other even though we're young.
Excellent. Excellent.
That's great.
Well, everyone's applauding because we're very proud of you and very appreciative, and that's a powerful message, and it makes a big difference that you are choosing to spread that message. I'm very much a believer that the generation coming up now is going to make a huge impact. I'm really proud and impressed. And I will tell you a different reality we saw just in the last few weeks. Young people, high school students, even younger, all over the country, standing up for a safer society and standing up for gun safety legislation was very, very powerful. So I would love to come visit what you're doing, and my colleague right there will follow up with you, and let's find a time when I can come over and see for myself. Thank you so much for all you're doing.
Thank you, young people. Yes, in this section. Gentleman with the white shirt that's standing up. With the orange. Yes, you. Okay.
You get a microphone.
Mr. Mayor, first of all, thank you for coming out.
Yep.
And thank you, Vanessa Gibson, council member, and all the elected officials for making this happen. Mr. Mayor, how are you and your administration making the Bronx a priority, given that we are 62 out of 62 in New York State? Unfortunately, we are the unhealthiest county.
Thank you. I would say that all of the initiatives we're trying to undertake to make people healthier are done with a knowledge that there's been fundamental inequality in healthcare, just like there's been in every other part of our society. And obviously the Bronx has borne the brunt. What the council member said in the beginning, I believe, we're talking about decades in which the Bronx was not given its fair share. And I think it's important to acknowledge that. I mean, I'm the mayor of the whole city, but I'm very comfortable acknowledging that reality as part of trying to change it. So in a lot of the things that we've talked about previously this evening, the affordable housing programs, the early childhood education programs, you go down the list, there's been a disproportionate favorable impact for the Bronx because the need has been greater in the Bronx. There's been the lack of investment. I believe that also connects to the healthcare point. I think a lot of what has affected people in physical health and in mental health, and by the way, this is an administration that believes there needs to be parity between both physical health and mental health. A lot of it has been poverty and lack of opportunity underlying these realities. So the whole concept of this administration has been go at it. Try to create more affordable housing, try to create better educational opportunities up and down the board. Obviously on employment and job opportunities. I mean, the Bronx is an amazing positive story, and a lot of people in this room, including the elected officials, get a lot of credit. The Bronx has cut its unemployment rate in half in the last 5 years, which is amazing. So those are pieces of the puzzle. In terms of direct health initiatives, I would point to obviously the anti-opioid effort, which I referred to earlier, getting the naloxone out, getting a lot more treatment available, working with community-based organizations to connect people to treatment. I would refer to the mental health initiative that my wife has spearheaded, Thrive NYC, which has had a very big presence in the Bronx, making sure that more and more people in community-based organizations and local health providers have mental health capacity, that all the schools in the Bronx have access to some kind of mental health capacity to reach young people early if they have a mental health challenge. Because one of the biggest health problems we face is that mental health challenges go untreated for years and years typically. So our objective is to get people identified who need help early and get it to them. That's going to have a very big impact in the Bronx. But it's an ongoing effort. We've invested a lot in our public hospitals, which have been hurting financially, but we have shored them up a lot. And obviously the public hospitals and clinics in the Bronx are immensely important. We've opened new clinics as well in the Bronx. So all of these are pieces of the puzzle, but I would say as a statement of what we're going to do the next 4 years, it is continuing to address inequality by just deepening investment in communities and neighborhoods in the Bronx that have been not given their fair share before.
I just wanted to add, one of the most critical, important infrastructure we have in the city is our public park system. Just so you all know, our parks are free. And we have a commitment that we want every New Yorker to be within a walk to a park. Right now it's 81.5%. Now there's other parts of healthy living such as diet and nutrition, but in terms of getting out, it's important. You, your family, whether it's seniors or children, and you heard the investment right now in this community for parks. Parks are not just for physical health, it's also for mental health. In terms of the trees that we're planting, it cleans the air, it cleans the water, and we all know we want to have healthier air to breathe. But it's important that you use the parks to get out to be healthy. If you don't notice, our agency has another name besides Parks and Recreation, and that's the Department of Fun, Health, and Happiness, because we know what open space will do to our daily lives. So we encourage you to walk, to get out there, enjoy a park, to be in green space. Actually has a therapeutic effect on your brain, and that will lead more to a healthier lifestyle. We also have free fitness classes, Shape Up NYC. So if you get involved in parks, we have many, many ways for all of you, at least from the physical health side, to get healthy, but also just go into a park will give you that mental health break that you will enjoy. I know Department of Health is not here. I'm sure Dr. Bass would have more to add, but on that side, there are parks in every neighborhood. Get out there, enjoy them with you and your family. You will not be disappointed.
Right.
We have something from Health here. I'm sorry.
Hold on, and is that Dr. Belkin? If you want to add, but I want to say something while Dr. Belkin coming up from the Health Department, that Mitchell Silver, who you just heard from, previously known as Parks Commissioner, is now Commissioner of Fun. Okay, he's got a new title. So if you're looking for something fun to do in New York City, just call him up. He'll help you. Dr. Belkin.
So the only thing my name's Gary Belkin. I'm the Deputy Commissioner in the Health Department.
Closer to your mouth.
And I oversee all our mental health work. But across the department and with the help of the administration, we are really restructuring our ability to respond in very local ways. We have zip codes that are miles apart, but decades apart in life expectancy. And that really has to change through a lot of the larger levers of change and opportunity that the mayor described, but also in how we partner in a place-based way to understand what healthy food access is like, what in a smaller environment are the access obstacles to health care and primary care and so forth. So things like the Jerome Avenue Task Force that the council member mentioned at the beginning are the kinds of activities we really need to have flourish, where we're sourcing locally driven aims and solutions.
Right. And how many of you know that we reopened the oldest standing walking bridge called the High Bridge? How many of you guys know about the High Bridge? That is a walking bridge that connects High Bridge to Washington Heights. So please, it's about health and wellness, and also I will add school-based health centers. We have opened a tremendous amount in School District 9 to take care of the mental health needs, healthcare needs, dental, and vision for our students. So we just want to make sure we continue to invest in these programs. Now I'm back to this section. Could I get someone in the back? Yes, gentleman right in the back with glasses on. Yes, holding the paper. Thank you. Colorblind today.
Thank you. Mayor, you're welcome to the Bronx. We thank you to be a frequent visitor to the Bronx. One thing I'm concerned about is soccer. We do have most of high school in the Bronx have a soccer field. We're having a problem. We have our youth living in neighborhood could not use the soccer field in the high school playground. Summertime, we all play at Yankee Stadium, and we try to get into the school. When they close the school in June, the fields are open, but the school tend to be renting the field to a private group that runs soccer program, paying soccer program. We are the taxpayer. We have our kids in the community. We would like to get them into those ground to play, but we can't have access to it. So I think that is not making any sense to us. Park Commissioner Harris, she's done a great job. She helped, but she can make 2 miles out of 1 mile.
Okay, I got you, and I appreciate the question. It's a very good question that I hear a lot variations on that question around the city. So first of all, in this specific case, our colleague from CAU is going to follow up with you. But let me just speak to the bigger point because I think it's important. When the school rents out space, indoor or outdoor, to community organizations or summer camps. Now just let me finish what I'm saying. Community organizations, summer camps, youth leagues, all of that, we consider that very important. So I don't want to in any way stop that good activity from happening. But it's absolutely fair to say there's additional time that can go to community people just for open play. We want to be able to do that too. We often have to find someone on weekends or evenings who can manage that. Sometimes the precinct gets involved in opening and closing the fields, things like that. So I have found in a lot of cases we can find a specific solution. But I also want to respect that a lot of those organizations that do rent space do a very good public service as well. Let's see what we can do in this case to accommodate community members as well. Thank you.
Okay, next section. I need someone in the... Yes, ma'am, right here with the headphones around your neck. With a peach shirt, yes. I know my colors.
There you go. Yes, that is peach.
Peach.
That's right.
Hello, thank you for coming here. I live in Sedgwick houses here in the Bronx, and we have problems with heat, hot water. We have problems with our roofs, and we also have problems with funds, okay, as far as our rents are concerned. Mm-hmm. We have seniors who are paying, ridiculous rents and have no monies left over for food. And I'd like to know exactly how does that work, and what do you plan on doing about it?
Okay, thank you for the question. So let me do two things. Do you have the list, Dave, of the various things happening at Sedgwick?
Yes.
Or you have that available. Okay, so you mentioned the roof, you mentioned the heat and hot water, so let's come back on that. Now, on the rent question, so the standard in NYCHA, is it 30 or 33%?
30%.
30%. The standard in NYCHA is 30% of income, and that changes every year for some people, right? So it's each year determined, but it's 30% of income. If there's a situation where someone is being charged more than 30% of income, we've got to address that. But I want to be very clear, it's a single common standard for all 400,000 people who live in public housing in the city. By the way, something that I want to respect and appreciate NYCHA for is there's a whole lot of people in the city who would love to pay only 30% of their income in rent. There's a lot of New Yorkers paying 50% of their income in rent. So we want to make sure, though, that it's being applied fairly and evenly. So you can follow up with Dave and his team after. But on the question of what we're investing in Sedgwick to address these issues, what do you got?
Well, so we have roof replacement that is beginning this summer. June 2018 will be completed by May of 2019. And then we've also got elevators.
I don't know, is that more than one building? Forgive me, I don't know.
There are 7 buildings.
And the roof replacement is for 7?
For all 7.
Okay, so let's get clear. All 7 buildings will have their roofs replaced. In many cases, I was at Queensbridge Houses in the Queens the other day, and they had not had their roof replaced for decades. So it's a very big deal to get the roof replaced. All 7 buildings, it will be done by next spring, by spring of 2019.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
We have, that's the main thing that we have
Okay,
there.
but on the heat and the hot water, do you have anything?
I'll follow
Okay,
up with you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. This section. The gentleman with the scarf, it's waving, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Had yellow in it.
Thank you, Councilmember Gibson. My name is Amaha Casa with African Communities Together. Everybody wave. We're here with our leaders and staff and our friends from New York Immigration Coalition and Sauti Yetu Center for African Women and Families, sorry. I want to thank you, Councilmember Gibson, for your leadership on African and Caribbean immigrants, including them in immigration services here in District 16. And that's what my question is about. So the city recently did a request for proposals for immigration services for, quote, hard-to-reach communities, meaning African, Caribbean, and Asian. And it made 6 awards, and the number of African and Caribbean organizations that received awards was 0. In a request for proposals for African, Caribbean, and Asian organizations.
Who did it? I'm sorry, because I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah.
Which organization, which part of the government put it out?
This was Action NYC. And instead, the awards went to 4 Asian community organizations who I congratulate, and Lutheran Social Services and New York Legal Assistance Group. So my question is, how can we change the systemic exclusion of Black immigrants by New York's immigration bureaucracy and actually support African and Caribbean organizations?
That means the legal services. That means the legal services specifically. Okay. So you're gonna speak to this with me. So that was specifically, I needed to confirm because I wasn't familiar with the funding stream. So that's for the legal services to help avoid deportation. Okay. So on the question of, I'm not sure how the RFP was handled, but obviously this is a common sense point. If you're trying to reach different communities, we would like organizations that represent those communities. Can you speak to what we're going to do now to try and address this issue?
Absolutely, and thank you so much for your question, Amaha. This is Sonia Lin from the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs. We're happy to follow up with you and meet with you and Sauti Yetu, New York Immigration Coalition. Yes, this RFP was designed to reach hard-to-reach immigrant communities. Action NYC is a citywide, community-based immigration legal services program. It was launched 2 years ago, and this most recent RFP represented a sort of new effort. We do have groups, providers in the network that do serve a variety of different immigration groups, and would love to speak with you further to offer a debrief and feedback on the application.
Is the RFP annual?
No.
No, okay. Let's see, I appreciate the concern you're raising, so I need you guys to follow up, and then I need to hear back, because I think it's a very common sense concern he's raising. We want to make sure we have good representation in that funding, so please let me know after you meet.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next section. Ma'am in the purple. Thank you.
I'm a mayor, town hall follower. This is not my district, but this is a town, and this is the town of the Bronx, is it not?
Yes.
So I am here, living in Castle Hill. My name is Jerry Lamb, and I'm a part of the mayor's MAP plan, and it's working wonderfully well in my area. However, I am not satisfied at all with the sponsor of our 12-year-old community center that's closed at 9 p.m. We have a ton of young adults, Mayor, between the ages of 19 and 30, that if the center is closed, and it's a brand new, beautiful facility. I heard that you recently gave $1 million to establish a cornerstone in another area. I am here to say to you that in addition to making MAP work with all of the agencies and all of the groups coming together to clean up Castle Hill and to make it better, we need, in order to make the system in the development and community work, a cornerstone program, because the present sponsor is not responding at all to that age group. You meaning the city of New York, have invested a lot of funds to fix Castle Hill.
Yep.
Because even though that center is 12 years old, it had a lot of problems. We've cleaned up, and I'm not knocking the housing.
I got you.
Okay.
She's just trying to.
Telling me to stop?
No, she's just trying to do her job. I got the point loud and clear. Jerry, thank you for your leadership. First of all, I'm very glad you're raising this, because we have found those youth programs to be highly effective. They are part of the success. Thank you for what you said about the MAP program. A lot of credit to resident leaders, NYPD, but also those youth programs have been a big piece of it. So particularly in the summer months, we are interested in making sure those are longer hours. Now, Bill Chong is here, and are you involved in that, Bill, or not? Okay, so that's all within NYCHA. So Dave, I want you to follow up directly with Jerry about looking ahead, particularly to the summer, what we can do to see if we can extend those hours, because that has been a strategy that's very effective. So I appreciate very much you raising it. Dave will follow up with you personally and see what we can do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And just so that everyone knows, our neighborhood map in this district is Butler houses, so it's been getting a tremendous amount of attention in this section. Yes, with the tie, red tie, and the glasses. No, not you. Right here in the third row. Sorry. Everyone has a tie on. Sorry.
Thank you.
Red tie.
I'm Abraham Jones, the Executive Director of Claremont Neighborhood Centers. The mayor was at our center at his first town hall, and I just want to report that after your visit, there was real sense of hope, and I think that it did a lot for the community. The Claremont Neighborhood Center sort of borders PSA 7 and 42 precinct, and so we were benefited from having middle school programs, and extended evening programs. And so my question is, because there has not been any indication that will be summer programs for middle schoolers or the extended hours program at night.
Okay, so I want to be really straightforward about where we're putting our resources. And the council also is obviously a part of this process with us around the budget each year, and they have their own priorities, and that gets reflected in the final budget as well. My focus has been on the after-school programs for middle school kids during the school year. We certainly, the summer obviously has a lot of merit, but as we're all about to experience, this year the budget is going to be tighter overall than in past years. And this is unfortunately despite the good efforts of our colleagues in Albany who fought very hard to protect the city took some very big hits in the state budget. So we have a serious gap compared to what we were hoping for on the state level. And we have a lot of new obligations, including obviously some needs around NYCHA. So I just want to say to you, as much as I would love to do more in terms of summer, I don't see that right now. We don't happen to have that. The Summer Sonic program is an example of something we were able to invest in before. I've said up front a couple months ago, we're not going to be able to invest in Summer Sonic from the administration's point of view. The council has to weigh their priorities. So that's the honest truth. Now, in terms of the youth programs around the NYCHA developments that we have focused on, as per the previous answer, that remains a priority for us because we think it's had a very big impact on not only the kids but on public safety. So that's an area we're going to try and create a lot of continuity. But some of the other summer programs I'm not sure we're going to reach this year.
Next section. Yes, ma'am on the end with the white hat. Yes, thank you.
Good afternoon. To you, Councilwoman Gibson, thank you. To the mayor, I know you had a long day because I saw you this morning. The question is, well, first, let me give you a little scenario. On Concourse Village West, from 153rd Street to 161st Street, the traffic there is very bad. In addition to that, 3 buildings will be put up, so make it even worse. Is there a possibility that money can be found to rebuild the bridge that was there by Cardinal Hayes? and perhaps that would ease some of the traffic.
Okay, I am not familiar with it. We'll see what DOT thinks, but let's see what the council member thinks
This is
about
the
that.
153rd Street Bridge project that was a priority of Community Board 4.
And what about you? What do you feel?
No, I agree with the traffic congestion and the challenges. There is a lot of housing that's coming up on Concourse Village West, so it would give greater access and alleviate traffic on the street. Both Morris, Concourse Village West.
Yeah. I mean, I think the issue with that project, it's one we've been talking to, OMB about, just because there's a price tag to it. We are, in the meanwhile, though, Navarro was just telling me, our Bronx Borough Commissioner, looking at some of the signal timing and things we can do, at least in the short run, to try and improve the traffic flow there. But it's a big project.
Okay, do we have any, just so people have frame of reference, do we have any sense of the price tag on that one?
About 86 million.
86 million, okay. So I respect the request, and we will look at it in the budget process. $86 million is a lot of money, but we will certainly put it in the nomination and see what we go, and I'll be able to come back to you as we proceed in the budget process and give you an update.
Okay, great. This section? Yes, ma'am, with the black shirt. Yes. Right. Black jacket, yes.
Good evening. Thank you, Councilwoman Gibson. That's my councilwoman. Thank you, Mayor de Blasio, for being here in the Bronx. You mentioned Not 62, and I heard all the great things about the parks for our kids and walking places to get to Manhattan. That's great, but we want to know about the healthy eating options that's going to be available here in the Bronx. It saddens me that like a Popeyes, a Dunkin' Donuts, a Checkers can pop up at any point, but we're suffering from heart disease and diabetes. So what are we doing about the healthy eating options here in the Bronx?
So, want to see who from the team, I don't know, it's health department or who's been focused on this. So we are continuing to try to foster healthy options. We're continuing to try and get more fresh produce out in communities, and whether it's helping local groceries to have the ability to do that, or green markets. But who, I don't know if we have an expert here, because I don't have enough specific information about this immediate area. James Patchett, jump on in.
Sure. Well, the city is proud to operate a program called Fresh, where we provide subsidies to groceries in all areas that are food deserts. So if there's an area that you're aware of that's a food desert in need of a supermarket, we'd be happy to talk about it and try and create incentives so that we provide more fresh food in supermarkets in your neighborhood.
Thank you. Thank you. Right in here? Okay. I can't see. The light is like right in my face. The first lady right here, behind the lady with the red jacket. Yes, ma'am. With your hand. Thank you. It's coming. It's right there.
Thank you. Thank you and good evening all. My name is Olympia Striplin. I live in Community Board 3. My question is, what can city officials do to incentivize and not impugn individuals or businesses who don't make it their business to keep the community from being littered? Profusely littered. I can go to a supermarket parking lot and the window blow, and then there's just all this debris all over the place, and no one's making it their business to come and clean it up. And my landlord's getting tickets because the store on the corner doesn't make sure that there's a trash can that's emptied or available for their patrons to use.
So I'm going to start and then pass to our Sanitation Commissioner. So you used a very important formula there, incentivize, not impugn. Very elegant language, I commend you. What used to happen too often was people were impugned and penalized for next to nothing. You know, the famous, there's a candy wrapper on the street in front of a business and they get a fine for that. We have moved away from what was, I think, a very aggressive approach to fining, because it was not fair to the small businesses. So the reason I say that in answer to your question is important is that that is in effect a kind of incentivization, because if you are, as a small business, doing what you can to keep your area clean, there's much less chance of having any negative outcome than there used to be in the past. But you're saying something, I think, even more complex, which is, what if you're doing everything right, but everything around you keeps blowing into your property? That means we have a more fundamental problem. Commissioner Garcia, what can we do to help?
So I would actually take a really aggressive approach because it drives me crazy when people are littering in the city. But I really thank you for your question. Litter and garbage is so critical in terms of how people feel about their communities and how well people want to open businesses. So I think it's really critical underpinning. So one of the things that happened actually as part of the RAD initiative is that we are collecting corner baskets 7 days a week from 4 in this area, and we have actually increased garbage collection to 4 times a week from 3 times a week. And then we do run a lot of mechanical rooms in the commercial areas. But if that is not helping enough, we can come out in any areas and issue fines for like repeated failure to take care of property. But I will talk to you about the location that you specifically have in mind.
But I want to give credit to the sanitation department because better trash cans that hold the trash in more and more pickups from those trash cans, that's what they've been doing more and more in the Bronx and all over the city. That is starting to make an impact. But definitely, if you have a problem area, the commissioner needs to know about it. Thank you.
And I would also add that for any business corridors, we are very big on promoting business improvement districts and merchant associations so that businesses can get together as partners and be a part of a organized effort to maintain their businesses and really keep our thoroughfares clean. So if any of you live near a business corridor, please let us know so we can connect them to SBS and we can begin to talk about establishing bids like we have on 161st Street and in other places, Mount Eden, 167, 3rd Avenue, so that we can make sure that everyone is a part of the solution and not the problem. This section here, okay, young lady right here with the glasses.
Hello, I've lived in this neighborhood my whole life, but one of the issues that I keep seeing is that there is no parking. A lot of times in this neighborhood, personal police vehicles are parked in illegal areas, like in front of fire hydrants, in bus stops, in front of churches, and in areas that the residents of this neighborhood cannot park in. And if we do park in those areas, we do get fined, tickets, and all those types of things.
Say where specifically, just so we can figure out which.
164th Street, 161st Street, all the way down on Morris Avenue. And, that's my specific area.
Who wants to speak to it? Inspector.
Ma'am, so we take all these complaints very seriously. I will put you in touch with our community affairs, so you can reach out to us directly when you see these violations, and we come out immediately and we address them and correct the situation.
So let's just dwell on that because you and I spoke about this before the town hall meeting. I understand why people are very concerned about this. We need to, I think, assure the community that if anybody, doesn't matter if they work for the city or not, park someplace they shouldn't, that there's going to be a consequence. I think there's an understandable skepticism that people don't necessarily think anything's going to change. So would you describe, Inspector, a little bit more what actually happens if you've got someone who is parking where they shouldn't that's creating a problem for the community? What kind of consequence we try and create to stop that?
Yeah, so depending on what type of violation it is, if it's a personal car or a department car that belongs to the city, we could do internal consequences, or if it is a personal vehicle, they will be issued the same citation. Other civilians are issued, so the same parking summons for those violations. Yes, I'll get all your information. We'll speak. Thank you.
Okay, next section over here. Gentleman with the green shirt.
I'm not speaking about any, I just want to speak about...
Get closer,
Into the mic,
closer.
the microphone.
Hello? I just want to speak about my 46th precinct, what a great job they're doing. We have Inspector Ramblin, he's out there. Vanessa, you know him very well as the DA knows him. He's a great guy, he's a workaholic, he's at every school, meeting the kids and the teachers and the principals. So this is an inspector. And one more, Chief Jason Wilcock. He was once the XO at the 4-6. Every year we keep a black party. He comes back up with his car. He bring all kind of juice, water, franks, and different things. Support the community. He's a great guy.
All right, next section, this section here.
And Councilmember, just let everyone know, we got about 15 minutes left, so
Okay.
let's try and get as many as we can next
Okay,
15
that means
minutes.
everyone's questions have to be quick, quick, quick. Okay, gentleman in the back with the black suit jacket, yes, right in the corner. Microphone's coming.
Microphone's coming. There you go.
Good evening. Let me first say this is absolutely amazing. There's so much love and peace in the room. And big ups to not just the Parks Department, but NYPD. And I'm happy that young people are here to see us kind of converse and get along. My question for the evening, Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for universal pre-K and what's happening with the middle school. We're forgetting about our teenagers. Ms. Lamb spoke about it very briefly, but the doors are closed. And I challenge anyone, go anywhere in the city, 8, 9 o'clock, there's no teenagers. 1.5 million teenagers are in this city, but we have no services for them. So I guess this is probably a question for DYCD, I'm not sure, but what's being done to offer more services for our teenagers?
Thank you. So very quick, just because we're really quick through all this, but I would just say, in terms of the summer programs that we do, particularly around public housing and the Beacon programs, and middle school kids, many of them are teenagers, I do think there is a focus, but obviously you're right, there needs to be more, and we got to keep building. Quick answer, Bill.
Thanks to the mayor's support, 200 community centers this summer will be opening at night. So we can always do more, but if you want to find one near you, we'll be happy to put you in contact with one. But the 200 centers.
200 across the city.
Across the city.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. This section. Gentleman all the way in the back with the hat, yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, to come to the Bronx. We really appreciate, and thank you to Gibson. I just want to mention that we experiencing certain discrimination in the Bronx, the stigmatization, like the Bronx stigmatization. I like the city. I walk around the city, but some part, like when you are around like certain part of New York City, when you say to somebody you're from the Bronx, they look at you like you come from another planet. You know, I really feel that, and I like this place, and I think that the mayor can do something about it. And we need to promote. We need to promote the view of the Bronx, like the tourists who are coming. Like we have a stigmatization about the Bronx. Like they don't look us like other people.
I got you. Thank you. Thank you. Wakanda, right. That is the right attitude. So, I think the best way to show that discrimination, that stigma is a thing of the past is exactly the kind of thing we're doing here tonight. I'm very proud. This administration has been very focused on the Bronx. The leaders in the Bronx have made huge progress. I think there is a change in the assumption. In fact, ironically, a lot of concern I hear now from residents of the Bronx is property values going up very fast and gentrification starting to occur and one thing and another. These are real issues, but they also indicate a change in assumptions about the Bronx, a recognition of how much the Bronx has to offer. So I do believe we're leaving those stereotypes in the past. I think the best thing we can do is just model good behavior like the young people in the blue shirts were doing, right? To show respect for all 5 boroughs, because we're all in this together. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, next section. The lady with the green, it's standing up. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rhonda Waller, and thank you for having this forum. I've lived in the 10451 area for almost 20 years. I grew up in this area, and then I came back. One of my pet peeves is how dirty the South Bronx is. I would like to see more of an initiative made to educate people on how to live better in their neighborhood, how to clean up behind their dogs, how not to throw their trash on the ground, how not to throw their trash out the windows. This is a big problem here, and it drives me up the wall because I was raised in this borough and I lived in Melrose when you couldn't even walk on the grass, you would get fined. It's dirty, and you have people who come here and love it, and you have people who come here who may not love it as much, but I would like to see things get better, and if we can educate the kids, have contests or something to instill some values in their area, in their city, I would love it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. This meeting is finishing strong. Spirit. That's very good. So, I appreciate that question very deeply, and I want to turn to our Sanitation Commissioner to help explain to everyone both what we're trying to do to educate, but also what we're trying to do to hold some consequences for people who litter or don't clean up on their dog, what we are doing now to have an impact on that.
Yes, I spend many a night trying to think of what I can do to people who don't pick up after their dog. But I really appreciate everything that you're saying, because I am in total alignment with what you're talking about. So it is a difficult ticket for us to write because we got to see it happen, but we definitely want to make sure that we are out there dealing with it. And litter, we're trying to use social media, and we'll come talk to you about some of our advertising campaigns and some of the work we're doing in schools. We have a very large partnership with DOE to try and make sure we're getting that message out. But I need all of the warriors in the public to help me say, it is not okay. It's like throwing things out in your living room. You wouldn't do it inside your house. You shouldn't make your neighborhood look that way.
Amen. So talk about the fines, though.
And I can write fines, and there's actually legislation to make it so I can write bigger fines.
So talk about that real quick. What kind of fines are we talking about?
Well, right now it's $70. You guys lowered it on the criminal justice stuff on me, but yeah, and you made it civil. But we're looking to increase it up to $250 per time.
There you go.
I would charge them like $1,000, but
there you go.
I don't think I could stay working.
You're extreme, but you're righteous.
This section here, young lady with the green scarf.
All right. Hi, everyone. Hi, Mr. Mayor. Hi, Councilwoman. I'm Suzanne, and I'm a board member of Community Board 5. I'm also a college student at Baruch College. And I wanted to know, I'm big in education, and I'm a soon-to-be college graduate, and I'm planning to stay in my community, unlike a lot of people, which is a problem we have here, where graduates move from the Bronx. And I know with the upcoming rezoning, economic status would really improve if we had more college graduates here. And
wait, what's your question? Because we're running out of time.
Oh, sorry. I know my question is kind of long. All right. At Bronx Community College, which is in my community, the completion rate is like 16%, which is really low. And for a college student to graduate from an associate's degree in time and a
Hey, you gotta get to a punchline. What are you asking? What are you asking?
I wanted to know, what are you doing to address this problem for more of New York students to complete
I got it.
education?
Thank you very, very much. So, the community colleges play a very vital role in the city. But I also want to be very clear, this is a challenge from my point of view, because even though we support financially the community colleges, we don't run them. The CUNY system, including the two-year colleges, is run by the state of New York. So, and again, I want to respect all of this. I want to respect the state legislators, because I'm sure they share some of my frustration. But I think CUNY could be much more strategic in its approach. I'd like to see that in the future. We're going to work for that. But what we have tried to do is support initiatives exactly like you just described, to help ensure that young people go into the two-year colleges, into community colleges, don't fall out of them prematurely. So we have been supporting very specific efforts, counseling and support and tutoring to help see if we can keep those young people on the track and get through and complete. Again, the bigger problem is we're putting money into something we don't control, and I'd like to see that ultimately change one day. Go ahead.
Next section. Yes, gentlemen. FDNY shirt.
Councilmember Vanessa Gibson, I want to thank you. Nice seeing you again. Mayor de Blasio, nice seeing you again. My question is concerning supportive housing. We have gone in this area of the Bronx from being the shelter capital of 5 boroughs, and it is my understanding that we now have several supportive housing units being built in our area and several more applications. I don't have issues with that. What I have issues with is, this is a city that doesn't sleep, except when it comes to oversight. Then they're asleep, okay? Having supportive housing and having contracts with the city or whatever it is, I understand Mr. Banks is here. And, DHS is now with HRA. HRA couldn't do the oversight in the past. Now we've just increased the size of the agency. And now we have the rezoning going on in our community Board 4 and 5. And now we have all these applications for supportive housing units. And I didn't hear anybody mention it. Okay. You do have an option, okay? We do have community boards, and it wouldn't take much because these people have a vested interest. Why can't they assist in some of the oversight when the things are crammed down our throats with shelters and supportive housing units, and yet we have no say? The other question is...
one per person.
No, it's part of...
No, come on. You're a good man, served your city, thank you, but I got to do one per person. On this question, so first of all, I would say, in fact, community boards are very welcome to help us determine what's happening with each and every facility of any kind that the city has anything to do with. Look, if we're not getting right how the facilities are run and how they connect with the community, that's not in anyone's interest. So, in fact, my experience, and I would say my colleagues would agree, is we hear a lot from community boards in terms of things that need to be fixed or things we need to address. We take that very seriously. But to your original point, I would argue, and I'm speaking, including from an example of a supportive housing facility just a few blocks from my home in Brooklyn. Supportive housing is permanent housing. I mean, I want to be clear. I know you are respectful of that reality, but I just want to say for everyone's benefit. Shelter is temporary housing. We want to obviously reduce the number of people who shelter regularly. But supportive housing is a permanent positive outcome for someone who needs that type of housing and blends in my experience, with communities very naturally. What I want to say about the Bronx and some of the history is we have been steadily reducing one of the things I think has been a real burden on the Bronx, which is the cluster sites, which have been a way that was used in the past to house homeless people in conditions that weren't fair, that cost a lot of money for the city. We've been steadily decreasing those. They're mainly in the Bronx, first and foremost in the Bronx. They will be eliminated entirely in the next few years. So that's going to relieve pressure on the Bronx. We're going to be getting away from the hotels that we pay daily as well. Our goal is to create a situation where there's as close to parity as humanly possible for each borough and as much as possible for each community board when it comes to helping to serve those who are homeless. But one thing I can say is over these next few years, you're going to see a lot of closures in the, not openings, closures in the Bronx when it comes to the clusters. Do you want to add anything?
I would just add that we're actually out of about 1,000 clusters in the Bronx, and we're getting out of additional clusters in Councilmember Gibson's district. And we're going to keep closing. We've gotten out of 100 buildings over the last year, citywide, and we're opening a much smaller number of shelters to replace them.
Yeah, Maria, do you want to add anything?
Only that for supportive housing in particular, this permanent
for
this permanent housing, it's important to us that these are well-designed, well-maintained permanent homes for individuals. If there are particular ones that you have concerns about, we'd be more than happy to hear about that. But also, for a lot of the supportive housing, just also dispel a myth, typically the ratio is 60% people who are formerly homeless or who have chronic issues, and that's 60%, and 40% available to low-income New Yorkers through the lottery that I mentioned earlier. So these are assets to the community that are important to helping those in need across the city.
I should also add that in terms of community board involvement, we met with Borough President Diaz and the chairs and district managers of all the community boards in the Bronx on Monday, and throughout the day had a series of sessions and working sessions about sightings and how to have better dialogue between the community boards and us. So I think, as the mayor said, a lot of stuff has gone on for years in the past. We're moving forward with a very different vision about how to implement things.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. So we now have 5 minutes left. We're going to get 4 questions in because there's 4 sections that the council member wants to make sure she gets one more question from each. So everybody, it's 4 questions, and then we'll say goodnight. But again, any of these commissioners you want to see afterwards, feel free. Council member, choose your 4 questions.
All right, I'm going to start with Ma'am You with the white hat, and we have 3 more to go. Thank you.
Hello, Mayor.
Hello.
I understand that that the minimum wages families has a hardship of feeding, clothing, and coffee for their kids. Why is the summer lunch program being cut again from NYCHA development and without paid staff?
Are you saying the summer, I couldn't hear, lunch?
The summer feeding program.
Summer feeding program.
My block feeds over 200 kids.
Okay, but hold on.
This
You're
summer.
saying you believe it's going to be cut this summer. I have not
It
heard
is
that.
cut.
Okay, hold on. I have not heard that. You want to, anyone know about this one? Okay. School's in. Okay, so let me just start by saying we will follow up with you personally, but I want to say, because I've just been through a whole bunch of budget meetings, I've never heard anything about summer feeding programs being cut. So if it was not yet, if it's not yet in the budget, that is not the same thing as being cut. There's no intention to cut feeding programs of any kind. So we'll follow up, but I want everyone to hear that as a statement of principle. We have no intention to cut feeding programs. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next, this section. Man with the red.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here. I am a resident of NYCHA. I live in Harlem, but I wanted to come to this meeting tonight because after 20 years living in NYCHA building, I'm facing eviction.
Hold on 1 second. I want to hear your question. We're going to follow up. Vanessa, you get an extra question because it's someone not from your district. So let's finish with her, but you add one more.
Okay.
Go ahead. You're facing eviction from NYCHA?
Yes.
And which houses?
It's Frederick Samuel.
Okay. Let's do that individually because it's a personal, confidential matter.
Yes.
Dave will follow up, a senior official at NYCHA will follow up with you personally. Okay?
Thank you.
So I'm staying in the same section. Raise your hand. Yes. Man with the yellow. You can't do that. Come on, no. With the yellow shirt.
So you get 2 more after this.
2 more.
So, hi, I'm Charmaine Ruddock from the Bronx Health Reach Coalition. Councilmember Gibson, we were really glad to hear you talk about #Not62. Mayor, you're in your last term.
I think it's my second term. I don't like to think of it as my last term. I like to think of my second term.
Well, for those of us who want some action taken, we are saying this is your last
All
term.
right,
We
that's
need
fair.
your help. The fact is that the Bronx is 62 out of 62. You heard my colleagues speak about that. And one of the asks that we have for you is that you make this a priority. And of that, we'd like you to come and meet with the Bronx Health Reach Coalition and the Not 62 campaign members to talk about how this can be prioritized for you, your administration, and your city agencies.
I accept. So we will have you come into City Hall and have a meeting.
Great, thank
So
you.
CAU, where's CAU? You're going to follow up on that one.
Okay, this section. Ma'am, yes, with the red scarf. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ebony Matthew, and I'm from the MLK SUNY Attain Lab here in the Bronx.
Get closer.
Oh, I'm from the MLK SUNY Attain Lab here in the Bronx. Councilman Gibson, we thank you for all your support, and Assemblyman Blank, we thank you for yours, but we need more space. If there's any way you can help, because we service, we offer free vocational training here in the Bronx for people that's on public assistance and not on public assistance. So we are a computer lab, and our space is very small.
Are your efforts supported by a city agency? Are you getting kind of grant or anything from a city agency?
Yes.
Which one? Anyone know?
HRA, we get our clients through HRA.
HRA, okay. HRA. Grace, okay, so your problem is you need space? Okay. HRA Administrator, Grace Bonilla, what can you do to help?
Why don't we talk about
Closer.
the amount of space that you need and the amount of clients that you serve, and we will see what we can do.
So you will follow up directly, right here and now?
Yep.
Thank you. And now, the last question of the evening.
Last question of the evening, and please understand, although you may not have been able to ask a question, the mayor, the agencies remain here, so please know that you will still get assistance and followed up on, okay? Last question for the night goes to you, ma'am, with the fur hat.
Okay.
Yes, you. You didn't realize you had your hat on?
Wow.
Thank you.
I am pleasured and honored to be chosen. Thank you very much, Vanessa.
Bring us home.
I will tell you. Mayor de Blasio, you had promised through both terms of running and indicated that you wanted to see employment for economic development of all people who were unemployed. I noticed that I watched the news a lot, and I saw that there were over 500 workers doing construction work on the west side rail yards. I do not believe any New York City Housing Authority employee residents were chosen for that project, and then I know that there's a phase 2 to that project, and if it has not already started, will you be selecting that we have a resident employment program that train the tenants to get jobs? And none of our tenants are recognized for the Section 3 mandate out of the regulations.
Okay.
So we want to know where are the construction jobs for public housing residents?
Okay, thank you very much for the
Economic
question.
development overall.
I got you. Okay, I want to say 2 pieces to the answer. The first piece is the bigger question of employment. The good news, there's some good news in New York City. We are literally at the highest level of employment we've ever had. We have more jobs in New York City than in our entire history, over 4.4 million jobs in the city. And we have the lowest unemployment rate we've had in almost 40 years right now. So this is good for everyone. In terms of NYCHA, everywhere I go where people raise Section 3 at a town hall meeting, I tell them the cold, hard truth. Section 3, I wish it was a strong mandate. It is not a strong mandate. But my mandate to NYCHA is to maximize training and opportunity for residents, particularly for work in their own developments and the surrounding area. That is what we're trying to do more and more of. We have only begun on that. So in the next 4 years, because I have 4 more years, this is going to be a major focal point to get more employment opportunities to NYCHA residents, including if it means giving them the training to open the doors to opportunity. You will be seeing more of that in NYCHA for sure. Thank you, everyone.
LaToya, Mike, come to the mayor.